Chelsea is on the line. Chelsea, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for taking our call.
Sure. How can we help?
Well, speaking of things that you cannot afford, my husband and I bought a house in August, and we are having some buyer's remorse, and we're now wondering if we should sell our house.
Whoa. Okay. Walk us through what happened.
Well, a few months after, so we got married in August and also bought our house, and we instantly had the buyer's remorse because that was about the time we got into Dave and baby steps, and the house is definitely not what he recommends. But then I also lost my job, so that was about $100,000 pay cut. And we've been working with a financial advisor, and we've cut out everything, and we're on baby step 2, but we're barely making ends meet. And last night, we had to spend about $10,000 to save our puppy's life that we didn't plan on.
I'm so sorry.
You guys have been through it.
You. We have. It's been a rough. Our mortgage is now 52% of our total income.
Of take-home pay?
Of take-home pay, yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And so we're debating selling our house. We think we have maybe a little bit of equity and just renting and starting fresh, but we didn't know if that was a terrible idea.
So are you working again? What's your current income?
I am. I took a job that I actually really love, but I'm making about $48,000. It's a lot of commission based, so it has the potential to make a lot more than what I was making, but it'll probably be about 6 months to a year before I really start seeing those commission checks.
Okay. And what's your husband's income?
We own a gym, so he brings home. It's different since it's self-employed, but probably around $100,000.
Okay. So let's say $150,000 household income before taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What other debt do you have?
We have $125,000 in debt. Most of it is student loans. We have one car. We sold our other car. We now have the $10,000 that we had to put on a credit card for the dog. And then we have a couple other credit cards. It totals about $6,000.
Okay. Now, I'm assuming with this mortgage payment, you guys don't have a lot of wiggle room at the end of each month to even throw at the debt.
No. Nope. We've cut out everything that we can. Excuse me. We've cut out completely everything that we can. So we use every dollar, and when we do our budget, we're about negative 100 every month, and we've just kind of lucked out.
And that's with you guys really dialing in the budget.
Yep.
But just between the debt payments, the mortgage, and paying just straight up bills, I mean, you're not doing any frivolous spending, it sounds like. You've played that game.
We're not. We have no frivolous spending. We've started using cash to buy our groceries.
Do you guys have any savings in the bank or anything you could sell?
Other than we're upside down in the car that we do have, which is why we didn't sell it yet. We had $1,000 savings that is now gone as of last night, and no other savings.
What's your home worth? Like, what'd you pay for it, and what's it worth?
We paid $769,000, and it's a new development neighborhood, and 2 other houses in the neighborhood recently, one recently sold and one is currently on the market, and those sold for about $850 to $915. Okay. So.
And you said you have a little bit of equity.
We only put down. I think we put down 5% because it was my first home purchase, and we did a 30-year mortgage. So we owe $750, and we're thinking we can maybe sell it for $850.
Okay, so you might net a little bit of cash that would help you start attacking this debt, but it's not like a silver bullet.
Nope.
Because now we got to pay rent, and we still have probably $75,000 worth of debt to tackle.
Yes.
Have you priced out some of the rents in your area compared with what you're paying now?
We did that right before we called you. We could probably rent something for about $3,000. So that would save us about $2,200 a month.
So your mortgage payment is $5,200 a month on a 30-year?
Yes.
Oof.
Man, I got to tell you, Chelsea, I hate telling folks to get out of their house, George.
And that's a big move. I actually rarely tell people to sell the house, but this is one of those situations where I wouldn't be able to breathe if I were you.
She can't breathe.
We can't.
You can't breathe. I mean, like you've cut down your budget to nothing. It's a skeleton. You're both working, and I know there's probably some months where the gym is doing better than others, but You don't know that, and you're on commission. And here's the thing: when you're in debt and you're working, it changes the way you work. You've just got that crazed mentality, so it's probably not doing anything to help you in your job right now. Do you know what I'm saying? Am I right?
Yeah.
You know,
you don't want to be a desperate salesman.
You don't want to be a desperate salesman. I hate to say it, but something tells me the moment that you break free of this, you're going to exhale and you're going to be like, oh, thank God we can breathe again.
I would at least start the process. Reach out to a realtor. We have some great Ramsey trusted real estate pros you can connect with at RamseySolutions.com. And to start the process, see what the market's actually doing, how much you could get for the house. And while you're doing that, I'm going to start working my tail off to see if we can get some traction and maybe have an ultimatum and say, hey, if things aren't in a much better place 3 or 6 months from now where we can see the light at the end of the tunnel, we got to sell this house. Yeah. This is the monkey on our back that's killing us.
Okay.
And here's another reason beyond the money. You guys are newlyweds. You're starting out life. You don't want to start out life. There's enough stuff that you're learning being newly married, right? You don't want this pile of debt just making matters worse or making matters stressful. Like that first year of marriage is tough enough. Can I get an amen, George?
Amen.
Is it just me? Okay. I'm just saying, I just think in the long haul, it's going to serve you better, and you'll have a home that's a blessing and not a burden. And
most of the time people have done this, they look back and go, that was the right move. Rarely do they go, oh my gosh, if we wouldn't have sold our house, it could have been this much. No one's thinking about appreciation. All you're trying to do is survive in this state. And so it really does. It will speed up this process of helping you guys become debt-free much faster. And then when you go back to buy a house the right way, it's going to be a blessing in your life instead of a curse.
That's right.
When you save up 10 to 20% with no payments in the world, and probably more because it's, freaking Boston and homes that are crazy expensive.
Yeah.
And
They're
so
crazy.
It may be another 5 years before you guys are homeowners, and that's okay.
That's all right.
But don't believe the lies that everyone needs to jump into home ownership. It sounds like you had some pressures in your life where like, hey, you're married now. You got to get a home. What are you doing wasting money on rent? Was that the narrative?
It was more like like I said, it was right before we got into Dave, and we had justified it as we were paying separately before we were living together about $8,000 in rent. His was $3,000, mine was $5,000. So this was saving money in our mind.
$5,000 for rent.
Wow.
Yeah, Boston. I do have a question because I've heard that. I guess someone told me once that if you sell your house before 2 years, you get some kind of fees for that. Is that?
You will have capital gains. Yes.
Okay.
15%, right, George?
Mm-hmm. It depends on your incomes. I'm guessing with your incomes, it would probably be. It may count kind of just extra income at that point, if it's because it's been under a year.
Yeah. If your income is. It looks like if your taxable income is more than between $41,000 and $459,000. Okay. 15%.
So I would also look into the tax implications. It may just be a net wash, and that's okay. We're not selling this house to make a giant profit. We're doing it to get out from under this giant payment. And like you said, it's going to free up $2,200 a month. Plus, that's barring nothing else goes wrong with the house. I mean, what happens if the HVAC goes out tomorrow?
Right. And
well, luckily it's a new construction, so you
have a 1-year warranty
in that way. But yeah,
Good.
we do.
Well, while we're talking about fees or things that might come up, I gotta say this right quick. I gotta talk about this dog right quick because when it comes to these vet bills, and you just got through something where you spent $10,000, you need to put a cap on that. Because if Rover is still not doing so well and something pops up later, you've got to have a cap on what you're going to spend on this. You can't continue to go into debt for a pet. I'm sorry, but you can't do it.
Sometimes it feels like dog ownership is more expensive than home ownership.
I know. I just lost a lot of friends on that.